Hey, good morning everyone. This is After Swim. I'm Jay. This is...
wait, what are you going to do? That's such a slow start to the episode.
It is. Well, he said, do you want to do the introduction? I thought, okay, I will. And the other thing was, is I had it in my head. I was actually thinking, and this is why I had a slow start, because I got a comment through the week on YouTube that said, Jay, stop dancing before the show. So I was kind of thinking that in my head, and when it went live, I was just preoccupied with this thought of don't move. So I apologise. Anyway,
let's get stuck in, shall we?
As you can tell, it's live. Look, we've got lots on today.
Firstly, hello everyone.
Yeah, sorry. I thought we did that bit.
Yeah. Oh well, we might have done.
Oh, okay. We've got a lot on this morning, so there's plenty happening around the world in the open water space, so plenty to touch on. I'm not even going to go into it because we've got lots and lots of stuff there, but we've also, this week we've got the Port to Pub event, and we're going to touch on the Australian Triple Crown as well, aren't we?
Yep, so we'll talk about the Australian Triple Crown, what are the swims in it, where they are, our experiences, where we've had them in those swims. And I think for the weekly wisdom, we're going into a really interesting topic about recovery, which probably doesn't get spoken about too much in terms of everyone focuses on your preparation, everyone talks about resilience and how to overcome adversity in the moment, but then recovery is a big part of it as well. So
yeah, and it's part of the training. I mean, a lot of people stop when the race stops, but that's not typically what happens. I mean, there's all this stuff that you can be doing afterwards which helps wind down and in effect, if you want to, prepare for the next event as well.
Yeah, so we're going to be focusing in specifically more on the event recovery side of things rather than day to day, but I think that's going to be a really interesting topic as well.
Yeah, because it'll be physical and mental.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's get stuck in, shall we?
Let's do it. All right, what's the first thing off the cab?
Okay, we are going into the news section. This is This Week in the Water.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, Dina, we've spoken about her the last couple of shows, and she is continuing to do some interesting things, and she's just gone from location to location. So she did a swim around St Helena the other week. She's now in, is it South America?
South America,
Lake
yeah.
Titicaca.
So we will show them on the map here.
Yes.
To anyone that doesn't know where St Helena is, you can be forgiven because we didn't really know either. But
middle of nowhere.
Here is Dina, everyone's favourite Croatian swimmer, and look, there's a lot of smiling photos here. So Dina, she swum. I believe the Lake Titicaca swim.
Yes.
Which is in, I think it straddles a couple of different borders, but it's in South America.
I think it's on the border of Bolivia and, is it Peru? I
It could be Peru, yeah.
Peru and
I think we're going to show it on the screen in a second, but here we can see her jumping in to swim. Looks quite mountainous in the background, which is a nice background. Just adjust the volume here. That might be quite loud. But there's her mum Zoljana.
Evo Dino pliva I idemo sad do ovog otočića I onda trebamo začošit.
I mean, based on my Croatian.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone understands Croatian, please let us know what she just said.
I think she was just saying, Dina's going strongly, it's nice conditions. But,
Pozdrav iz Bolivije sa jezera Titicaca nakon uspješno otplivane rute od 16 km.
Again, I'm not going to play it too long because I don't know what she's saying, but I can only assume that it's good. 16 kilometers at 3,800 meters.
I was going to say, because Lake Titicaca is, apart from the name, sounds a little bit funny, sorry. But
let's not offend anyone.
No. Oh, well. But it's quite a unique swim. It borders a couple of nations, but it's not generally a very long swim, but it has a lot of challenges. And the altitude is one, which Andy just mentioned, so over 3,000, I'll say meters or feet. Is it
3,800 meters high.
Yeah, so you've got the
oxygen.
oxygen.
So your loss of oxygen.
Plus, I believe the water's quite fresh.
15, 16 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm. So that combined with the lack of oxygen can really, I guess, hamper your efforts. So it is a challenge. And I don't believe there's too many people that have actually done a full what would you call it? It's not a
I don't think it's the length of it because it's 15 kilometers here.
Yeah, this
which I think is just I think it's a width of Lake Titicaca, which is still bloody damn impressive, especially at that altitude.
So the impressive thing with some of these swims is, especially these ones where there have been quite a number of swims in that lake, but they've been at different start points and end points. So to be a recognised, I guess, swim of the entire length or the length of Lake Titicaca, it needs to be from a specific start point and a specific end point.
Yeah, so they standardise the route so that, you know, there's consistency and it's repeatable, and there's an ability to compare in terms of, or this is what the first person did, this is the standardised route, and when you have done this swim, you have done the same swim as everyone else.
Yeah, and I believe there's only been maybe, is it 5?
Yeah, so
5 people?
we just had it on the screen there. I think it was Lynn Cox was the first woman to do it. The Zamatis brothers, John Curley's done it, and added to that list
Is Dina
Levacic.
So wow,
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
And we just talked about St Helena, which actually, let me bring that up on the map here. It was a swim that she did, I think, like last week.
Yeah, it was a week or just over a week ago.
St Helena Island. Let me bring it up.
And interestingly, since Dina has done that swim, so she was, to our knowledge, the first person who has ever swum or circumnavigated that island. We've since learned that there's another 2 people. One has already done the circumnavigation about a week after Dina, a gentleman by the name of, what was his name?
Let me bring this up.
Angus.
McPherson. So here he is.
South African fella.
Very strapping young man there. Look at him. He's an absolute unit.
I love the way he's done his social media too. We were having a bit of a look around, and he's actually put a fair bit of effort into his social media.
We'll come back to that. That's a famous person right there, a famous swimmer particularly. But I'm really liking all of this additional information, like in addition to the videos. So, there you go. I mean, actually, I don't think he's as ripped in this as he is in real life. He's an absolute unit of a gentleman. But yeah, there's a lot of information which I really like, actually.
It's good. It's rather than just watching somebody swim, he's trying to provide a little bit of info about the event that he's taken part in.
What's going on, and there's an update. It's got the distance covered, distance remaining, time elapsed, estimated pace. This is pretty good.
Research and
information to make available to, everyone loves statistics, don't they? Like, everyone loves, going into their Strava and seeing their average paces, like especially the triathlete community. They're very
they're very data driven, aren't they?
Data driven, which allows for comparison and an ability to track performance and measure gains. Maybe we need a bit more of this in the world of ultramarathon swimming.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've done a lot of these, and typically all you see is somebody swimming, and sometimes it's in the middle of the night and it's just a body of water, and there's only so much that you can portray in the moment. But I like the way that Angus has put this together with all that additional info, showing the map, showing the distances, the times, the conditions, etc., etc.
And just bringing it back there, so fellow South African that he's got to give a shout out, Chad Leclos, very famous in the pool swimming world for all the incredible things he's done, including that legendary 100-meter butterfly where he took down Michael Phelps. So just amazing to see.
It's pretty impressive who he's had on board and having
these guys getting around it and really pushing the swim and the incredible effort. So to Angus, if you're watching, huge congratulations on your swim.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for a job and helping me with my social media, I would love to be able to do this sort of stuff. I think it's amazing. So,
well, maybe we need to have a chat.
Yeah. So moving on from one expedition to another, let's talk about our friend Val Kalmakov.
Yes. So Val, we know because of the Derwent River swim, but Val's actually embarked on
this guy here. Look at that. That's a fairly shaven-headed Val.
That's a very serious looking Val.
But we've known him for a good number of years. One of my first ever ultramarathon swims was with Val as my skipper. and he's launched something out of Tasmania called the Wild West Series.
A new legend is born. For the first time ever, I Swim Happy presents the Tasmanian Wild West Series. 3 iconic open water swims back to back, never before attempted, called wild, thrilling, moving. Are you ready to be part of this story? Join the...
Watching David Attenborough or something like that, you know?
Val, we need to get your vocal cords a little deeper.
We need to get you onto BBC, I think. Let's just get you signed up. That's incredible. But what I love about this, I'll bring it back up on the screen. Look how rugged and real frontier these swims look. So you've got from memory here, you've got, actually I can just look at the screen, the Gordon River, which is I believe in the west coast of Tasmania. I think they're all in the west of Tasmania, so if it's the Wild West Series. You've got a 20-kilometre swim on Lake Pedder, and you've got the famous Tasman Bridge to Iron Pot Lighthouse, which, for those familiar with the Sydney to Hobart race, Iron Pot's the lighthouse that you famously come past just before coming into Hobart for that one.
And I know you haven't spoken to Val before. Like, Val's very much, well, he's not so much about racing and accolades. For him, it's more about the destination or the journey and the experience. So hence why he's put this series together, because there's some of the most tranquil places you'll probably ever get to swim.
Yeah, and so I've seen pictures. I think Alessandra Sima, Ocean 7 swimmers there. Sam Shepherd's parents, his mum and dad, they're over for the trip. Amy Gubster from the US. Like, there's a whole group of them that have come into Tasmania, and they're experiencing this one together, which I think would be a really amazing trip. And
we'll have to get across there, I reckon.
Swimming in places that you just never go to. So yeah.
And all with a great supportive crew as well, so you're not doing it alone. This is a new experience.
Yeah, so anyone that wants to check that one out, we'll put some notes in the show notes below, and I could definitely recommend that. That will be one of those trips of a lifetime.
And while we're in Tasmania, something else has occurred, right?
We had Miu Tanaka. She was the first person to swim, or first female to swim. Jay, do you want to pronounce this one?
Not particularly, but I'm going to say Yingina.
Yingina,
Yingina will do.
I don't want to get cancelled, so I'm not gonna. Whatever that lake is, it looks like an absolute cracker. 25 kilometres. She's done that in just over 9 hours, which is a phenomenal effort. I'm guessing it's also at altitude, probably very fresh waters. Actually, it says there 12.9 degree waters. So fresh swim.
Do you know what? I wish I could warm up some of these waters, because I'd love to go to these locations and swim there, but I don't think I'd cope.
Stick on a wetsuit.
Not for that long.
No, well,
anyway,
that's another conversation, isn't it? So
apple pie and ice cream for me. Apple
pie and ice cream. Moving on, this week here in Western Australia, we have the Port to Pub swim.
Yeah, an awesome event. Look, if nobody's familiar with it, hopefully you've heard of the Rottnest Channel Swim. This is very much like the Rottnest Channel Swim, albeit it's a little bit more low key, and I actually quite like that. I like that there's no fanfare about it. It doesn't quite have the same vibe, but it has its own unique vibe.
Well, it's a swim for everyone, and they say with Rottnest, everyone piles into it, but for this one, it's really for the swimmers.
Yeah, and it's a lot more accessible too, because it seems to be, so there's solos, there's duos, there's teams of 4 and 6. So it very much is about inclusivity and trying to get the teams and having a bit of a fun experience. So they get a bit more of a look in than on some of the other events.
So I'm racing the 25k this weekend. Jay's on my boat, so we'll be sharing updates from that effort through the coming days and on race day, of course. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to delve into the Port to Pub swim as part of the discussions around the Australian Triple Crown in just a second, so we won't go into too much detail right now, but what we will talk on just
Yeah,
this second, which is
an
coming up,
interesting one. So,
is the Aussies.
what are they? Well, this is kind of your wheelhouse, right? This is kind of how you got into, I guess, ocean swimming, really.
Well, yeah. So for anyone that's not familiar with surf lifesaving and the sport of surf lifesaving, there's a number of disciplines that are, I suppose, centered around the beach and the ocean. So things like the surf race, which is about a 400-meter swim around some cans. They have paddlecraft, like surf skis and the boards.
Mm-hmm.
They have all these beach events like the flags and sprints.
I think this will be really, really cool. So there's some talk about this potentially getting a look in for the Olympics in, is it
2032 in Brisbane. So it's a huge, like there's a huge community of surf lifesavers all around, particularly in Australia. And what you tend to find is most of the beaches will have a surf club, and they're responsible for, I suppose, volunteering to provide surf lifesaving duties on that beach. So
yeah, and I don't know if you remember, you might be a little, or you might remember, no, you probably wouldn't have been here in Australia. So when I was a youngster, we used to have what was called the Ironman series.
Oh, they still have it, yeah?
Yeah, but it used to be on television. It was televised every weekend. It was actually really interesting and exciting to watch, especially as a youngster, because you could see these celebrities, well, I mean, they were athletes, but they became celebrities, and they were on cereal box packets and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see this sport, represented again in that light. So I'm hoping that this will kind of elevate that sport.
This weekend, the Aussies, which is the national championships here in Australia, that kicks off. So that runs for, I think, 7 days of all these different events and disciplines. It's happening over east in, let me just check here, it's North Curra in the Gold Coast, over in Queensland. So that's super exciting, but like Jay said, it's being put in the mix potentially for the Brisbane 2032 Olympics, which I think as a sport, having that that extra level of competition for people to aspire to. There's so many people in the sport already. Just having that extra, all these opportunities, I think, would just
the extra incentive to
the
get
pipeline.
involved.
It would be amazing for that sport. So
I reckon it's going to be brilliant. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
2 pieces of news before we move on. World Water Day is on Sunday, the 22nd of March. So that is all about highlighting the importance of fresh water, access to clean resources, and it's putting a light on the global water crisis, encouraging stable management of water stewardship essentially. So I think that's a great thing that we have this day, and everyone should have access to clean water in my eyes. It's just so important for so many different.
It's one of the fundamentals of life, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's on Sunday, and I've just recently.
I was going to say on a personal note.
On a personal note, it's nowhere near as important.
Why? Because we can.
Because this marks. It's just passed, but this week marks 6 years since I returned from my backpacking travels. I took a year out from the world of work. I'd quit my job as an accountant. I'd travelled all around the world, managed to go to 30 different countries, which I'll bring up on the screen here. This was me, yep. Once upon a time. And
what's with the long hair, Andy? Like, when are we going to see a return to that?
if the people want it, it's potentially there, but it was a really special time in my life, and got to travel the world, meet incredible people, see amazing places. But when I came back, that's when I got back into open water swimming, and that was really where this journey of getting into the ultra marathons, doing the Ocean 7, doing what we do right now, that's really where it kicked off. So yes, it is a bit trivial, but at the same time, I do think it has some relevance, because everyone has had those turning points in their life where they essentially they're at a crossroads, and they choose to go down a certain path.
I was going to say, I mean, when you have, I guess things like this, where you have taken out time from work and you go and experience the world, they do shape you as a person. I mean, look, I think even from my perspective, I didn't get to do that as a youngster because I had a family quite young. So I, you know, wife, kids, mortgage, all that sort of stuff, was busy working. So I didn't get to do that in my 20s. I started doing that a little bit later in life.
When he met you, some crazy Scottish guy that pitched the idea of the Ocean 7 in a year to him. And
well, I had the luxury to be able to do it a little bit later in life. So I guess there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, but certainly they shape you as a person, those experiences, I think.
shall we move on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's do it. So we move on.
All right, where do we start with this?
The main set.
Yeah, and this week we're looking, I guess, primarily at the Australian Triple Crown, but we delve into, I guess, well, specifically the Port to Pub event, which makes up the Triple Crown because it's on this weekend, but also the other events that make up that series.
So what is the Australian Triple Crown then?
Well, the Australian Triple Crown, 3 marathon swims. So Port to Pub, which is on this weekend. We have is it Palm to Shelley?
Palm to Shelley?
Yeah, good. I was going to say Shelley to Palm.
Are you gonna get? You
should
know these two.
No, but I just had the naming round the wrong way, and the Derwent swim as well, the Derwent River.
I wonder if anyone has swum from Shelley to Palm.
Well, I'm sure somebody has.
Anyway, that's another conversation. People have swum the Derwent the other way around, so maybe.
Why would you want to go upstream? Never mind.
So so here it is here. So the Australian Triple Crown of Marathon Swimming. It is governed by Marathon Swimming, Marathon Swimming Australia, which we'll touch on in a second. And it was inaugurated back in February 2020, formalising a national challenge that essentially was designed to celebrate achievement in the longest and most demanding open water swims here in Australia. So, amazing to think of in 2020. This thing started.
Yeah, 5 years ago, effectively.
Just 5-6 years ago. And what we've got up on the screen right now is the roll call of everyone that's taken this on. And we're already at 61 people that have completed all 3 of those swims.
And there's quite a few internationals as well. I mean, obviously, because it's in Australia, mostly Australians. But, we've had some people from US, Argentina.
Abigail Fairman, we met her over in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she did it, look at that, there. 5th of March, 11th of March, 18th of March. 13 days. So she did that in less than 2 weeks. Which is just
when you're out here from the US, you might as well just knock them off.
Just smash them out. So, first people to do it, Linton Mortensen, Anna Strachan, 2 incredible swimmers from over on the East Coast. 61 people in total having done it. Plenty in the pipeline. I speak to a lot of people, particularly here in Australia, like you said, that this is their goal. And yeah, it's just an amazing thing to have these swims and to celebrate people and encourage people to take on some of the biggest and boldest challenges in our country.
Yeah, and look, and I guess on a side note, there's lots of these challenges throughout the world as well. So this is just the one here in Australia, but you have them in the US, in Ireland, in Europe, and there's all these challenges throughout the world to, I guess, celebrate marathon swimming.
Yeah, and more amazing places in the world to go and swim and meet the incredible communities that live in those areas.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we briefly touched on it. Marathon Swimming Australia, they oversee the Australian Triple Crown. They were formed all the way back in the 70s by, I believe it was Chris Gesden and Sue, who are incredible in their own right. Back then it was the Australian Long Distance Swimming Federation, based in Tasmania, where the Derwent River is, and we'll kind of draw the connections there. Recently rebranded into Marathon Swimming Australia. And, as a swimmer, it's important that these organisations exist and they're governing what it constitutes to complete one of these challenges. Like, if they're going to be a list, how do you complete it, in accordance with how it was set out? We talked about Lake Titicaca, how there needs to be sort of regularity and consistency with the route taken. These are the guys kind of overseeing that, and
they do the ratifications and all sorts of things as well.
Yeah, just the record keeping of it as well, and really just shaping how marathon swimming is in our country here in Australia. So they've got their own records here, the database. For anyone that wants to check it out, we will put that into the show notes as well. But it's really awesome to see all of this stuff starting to formalise and the structures being put in place so that, you know, long after we're, not to be morbid, but long after we're gone, then it's sustainable and people can step into these roles and continue to be stewards of the sport into future generations.
Yeah, and it's a celebration of, I guess, human achievement as well. And there's, when you look at some of the names on the database, it's quite interesting. You tend to see a lot of similar names across, you know, the different swims and series that are out there. But look, it gives people something to aspire to as well. And as Andy said, so an opportunity to travel to different locations, have a challenge in the process, swim in some beautiful spots.
Well, I mean, you know, if you wind the clock back 10 years, most people, I think, here in Perth, their focus was the Rottnest Channel swim. Now you've got other swims out there like Port to Pub, which we'll touch on in a second. You've got the Derwent River, you've got Lake Argyll, you've got Pam to Shelley, you've got Great Keppel Island, you have the Wild West series, you have U24 in Melbourne. Like there's a whole plethora of different challenges. Geo Bay.
Yep.
Which is amazing, you know. So
and I think
people are starting to talk about them as well.
And that was where I was just going to go. So, whilst there is some, I guess, advertisement of these events, it really gets spread through the communities, through you guys, through going to that local swim group that you might venture out with every weekend. You're getting people coming from different locations doing these swims, but then talking about them within those communities, which then inspires a little bit more, you know, inquisitiveness about, oh, maybe I could do that. And of course, then it just spreads organically as well. So it's pretty cool.
Speaking of what you can and can't do, shall we talk about? I don't know how that is. That's a subtle joke.
That's an inside joke.
All right, okay. Port to Pub. Let's bring it up on the screen.
We might touch on that.
Oh, we will. So, Port to Pub, what is it, Jay?
So
what have we got here?
The Port to Pub, look, it's a swim from the mainland of Perth, Western Australia, out to Rottnest Island. So, not that I want to compare the two, but similar to Rottnest Channel swim, albeit the Port to Pub has one extra bit of detail that makes it unique, which is a 25-kilometre swim. So the distance from the mainland across to Rottnest is just shy of 20 kilometres. So we, as the Port to Pub swim there is a slight addition. So there's a 5-kilometre swim up the coast from Leighton's Beach. Yep. So we start at Leighton's Beach, swim up to Cottesloe Beach, back to Leighton's Beach, and then we turn a marker and we head across the channel. So, and it makes it a bit of a challenge because it messes with this a little bit.
That's what I've got on Saturday. Yeah. So you know, most people they're used to just swimming across the channel, swimming a 5k loop, and then starting your crossing. I think is going to be an interesting prospect. Turning that can and then joining the rest of the field. So
it does, because and the way the event goes as well is that 25-kilometre solo group, they go off first, but they turn and then they swim up the coast. The next wave that starts off, there's a 20-kilometre solo wave, so they will go straight from Leighton's across to Rottnest. The first group though, they go up to Cottesloe, come back, and then effectively they join the rear of the group that's heading across to Rottnest and make their way through the teams.
So we're going to have a bit of a field to start working our way through. So for anyone that can see on the screen, we've got the start here. It's at Leighton Beach, which has all the iconic cranes of Fremantle in the background, which is an amazing sight to see. And we're swimming across to Rottnest Island, which probably has some of the bluest waters on the planet. It's just truly stunning.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. On a perfect day, the water is so like turquoise, I think is the colour.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, this event, it started in 2016. I believe that the group of the founders like King Robertson and those guys, I think they weren't able to get an entry into Rottnest because Rottnest had filled out in February, the month before. So they thought, well, why not? There must be enough demand there for a second event. Let's get this started. So they started in 2016. I think I read somewhere, I think it was like 24 people signed up for the 19.7 and 12 people for the 25k. This year, they've got 1,700 swimmers. 75 of them are doing the 25k. So
and I think that's a full field. I think we're limited to numbers as well. So
Completely.
there's 75 25k swimmers and 120 20k soloists,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the field is made up of duos and
And
teams
teams.
of 4 and a team of 10.
a team of 10
This year to
which
celebrate.
would be epic, actually.
I just see it as a headache.
So that's really, really cool. And
And so the team of 10, just to clarify, is not a regular one. This is just to celebrate the 10 years of Port to Pub.
it might become a mainstay, but here's a couple of photos from some of my experiences in it. I've never done the solo. I've always done it in a team, which has always been a lot of great fun. But you've done it as a solo, Jay.
I've done both. I've done it as a team and a solo. So the first couple of times I did it was a team of 4, and unfortunately the race where we were in the lead got called off. It was quite bad weather, so didn't get to claim that win, unfortunately. But I've done it a couple other times as teams, and then I've managed to do it 3 times as a soloist. And I would be doing it this year, but I've sustained a little bit of an injury with my shoulder, got a little bit of a tear in the tendon. But there's a big story there. I've tried.
Let's delve into that. Yeah.
Look,
What happened?
my main aim. So the thing with the Port to Pub is the winner they get their name presented on the board at Rottnest Hotel. So there is a leaderboard at the hotel there. So there is a winner for the 25 kilometre swim and a winner for the 20 kilometre swim, both male and female. So I wanted to get my name on that board, and being a little bit older, I had to be a little bit strategic in how I thought about doing this event, because I'm not 20 anymore, so I've got to think a little bit differently. And I knew a lot of the people who would probably be a bit quicker than me would want to go into the premier event, which is the 25 kilometre. So I've entered the 20 or the 19.7 kilometre event 3 times, and my first year I probably felt the best that I've ever felt, and I had done.
You were in great shape for that.
I was, and as a training swim, because I'd never done a marathon swim before, and this is one of the swims that I'd chosen to do, I guess, because I was supporting Andy. I hadn't done a big marathon swim like this myself, so I entered the Rottnest swim as a training event for the Port to Pub.
This is in 2023.
Yeah, which I've got the shirt on at the moment. In 2023 I did those events, and I was in really, really good shape, did a great time, was really happy with my finish in Rottnest, and I was feeling really confident about entering Port to Pub and potentially taking out the win. There was 3 or 4 people who were, I guess, my pace. Started off really well, was in the lead till the 10 kilometre mark, and because I'd never done a swim like this before, I was actually suffering a bit from having done the Rottnest swim about 3 weeks before. Like, my muscles were just crying out for some rest. And so that period in between, and this is why we're talking about recovery a little bit later on. So that period in between, I was feeling, not good at all. Like, I was trying to get back up to, I guess, pace again after having done
Well, there's only 4 weeks between
in
Rottnest.
that one there was only 3.
Geez,
So it was even shorter, just the way the calendar fell. And I was struggling. So I had the forethought, well, actually, because my body was in pain, I was taking some anti-inflammatories to try and, I guess, calm the system down and give me some, I guess, respite from the muscle soreness effectively. And on the day of the event, I had taken some anti-inflammatories prior to the swim. I had scheduled in, and this is a conversation that my partner, if she's watching, she's going to hate this because I'm going to go into a bit of detail. Because I'd never gone through this process before, I knew that I was going to be in pain at some point during the race. Now, typically I wouldn't have any other medication through the event. I would just have a little bit before, which is quite common, and I think you even go through that similar process where we preventively take some medications before. So like Panadols, ibuprofens, that sort of stuff. And I had done that, but I was in my head a little bit, and I changed my plan, and I shouldn't have. So what I did is I actually introduced partway through my swim to have some more I guess, pain medication. Now, I had tested it before, but what I hadn't done was I hadn't tested it under duress. I hadn't tested it in terms of having one bout and then another bout. And I also hadn't tested taking it out of the capsule and putting it into the fluid, which is how I take my feeds. And instead of it dissolving a little bit slowly, it hit me quite quickly. And as the story goes, I was actually in a comfortable lead by quite a couple of 100 meters. And by that 10-kilometer mark, I'd had that feed, which I had scheduled in, and it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And it very quickly became, I guess, a swim to try and win from that into just trying to get to the finish.
To survive, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I was okay, but I was quite disorientated in the water. So I was still with it, but I was just feeling almost drunk, if that makes it.
Disorientated.
Yeah, very disorientated, and my speed just dropped massively.
It's amazing when your head's not there. The rest of the body follows.
And you know what? And the team immediately picked up the change as well, because I could see them every time I would breathe. They were quite excited because we were in the lead, and it's exciting being in the lead of a team. It doesn't happen all that often. So when you are there, it is quite invigorating. But then they saw my pace drop. They saw me start to struggle. My stroke rate really dropped. My pace dropped. I could see their faces, and I went through a process in my head of, wow, I might not actually finish this.
Wow.
And I was in the water for an hour extra than I had anticipated being. And I just kept looking up at the support crew and seeing the look on their faces. And I ended up starting to swim for them more so than for myself. Because for me, I was done, and I could have quite easily just gotten out of the water because it wasn't pleasant. I had no power. I just really, really struggled. But I did it for them. And interestingly, when we got to the other end, I got out of the water, and I think I ended up coming 7th or something like that. And as I said, an hour slower than I had anticipated. But I stumbled out the water because I really wasn't too well. And then afterwards, when we were recovering and we were at the hotel just kind of consoling one another, or actually they were consoling me, they asked me if I was disappointed. And on some level I was, but on another level I wasn't, because the whole meaning of the swim changed for me, that particular one anyway. And yeah, it
was less about the result.
Yeah, and it was more about the people for me, that one.
How you conducted yourself in those tough moments.
Yeah, and look, and I was quite proud of my achievement in a way. Yes, I was disappointed that it unfolded the way it did, but as we talk on the show about disappointment and adversity and all these sorts of things, I did have to go through a process of just being okay with that outcome, because I couldn't change it. It was what it was. And I wasn't disappointed. It was just the way that it panned out, and nobody was doing anything malicious or intentional. It was just what happened, and it was meant to happen for a reason. And it gave me a fire in the belly to come back next year and give it another shot, which I did.
I was going to ask, so what happened?
Well, it was in the middle of us doing a lot of the Ocean 7 stuff, so I knew it was going to be tough, and I knew it was going to be a challenge. And we had been doing a lot of traveling, so I didn't quite get the level of training in that I had wanted, and I always knew it was going to be a bit of a struggle coming into the event. And at the 14-kilometer mark on the second attempt, I just hit a brick wall. Just the fatigue kicked in, and I couldn't sustain that pace. And again, I was in the lead, so I'm like, oh no. I had the same crew on the boat, and again, they were all excited until it all started to fall apart. And again, I ended up being in the water a bit longer than I had anticipated, so that didn't eventuate either. But that gave me the fire in the belly to come back a third time. And look, on the third attempt, I was really, I put the effort in. I had the discipline, the structure in place. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I knew that the plan was solid. I just needed to put it into effect. I had a great lead up into the event, probably feeling the best that I ever had. The conditions probably weren't that great. Went into the event, and there was, again, 3 or 4 people that were at the similar pace. So it was nice because it was competition that I was aware of, and I had earmarked, I think, 3 people to kind of look out for. And by the I think certainly the halfway mark, I was in the lead. By about the 15-kilometer mark, I was still in the lead, probably by a couple of 100 meters. And then out of nowhere, this young fella comes along, and I think it was like the 16 or 17 kilometre mark. This young fella just overtakes me. I don't know where he came from. He wasn't somebody that I had on my radar. And look, I was 48 then, and it just depends on who turns up on the day. But this young fella, he got, I think it was 8 minutes on me in the last 3 kilometres.
Yeah, wow.
So I don't know where he was before, but if he had his it together, he should have been miles in front. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but just in the last 3 kilometres, he beat me to the line. And do you know what? I applauded him, and when I got out the water, I came out second, and I did a great time. Really, really impressed with my time. I was really impressed with my efforts, and I was super proud because I knew I'd put in a great level of preparation for the event. I was really happy with how everything unfolded in the event. The people that I had earmarked as my competition, I won't say comfortably beat, but I had beat them, or was in front of them. So I was happy that all went to plan. And the one thing that I couldn't account for is somebody younger, faster, just a little bit better on the day.
You've done everything right in your world in terms of what you can control. You can't control who's going to turn up on the day and what they're capable of. So
no, and when I got out the water, again, people thought, oh, you must be so disappointed because you came second. But I wasn't. Again, I was super happy how everything panned out. And I'd always said to myself, there's going to be people who rock up on the day who may be a bit better or faster or whatever, and there's nothing I can do about that because I know I'm not the fastest person, and this was always a strategic decision. So I just put my best foot forward and came out with what I was happy with in that second place, and kind of changed my attitude in that I don't feel like I've got anything to prove anymore.
That's it. You put together the best swim that you could.
Yep.
Anything above that is, the cherry on the trifle, but it's not the be all and end all.
No, you know what? There's still some fire in the belly. I know that there's still some more there, so maybe I'll have another crack at it in the future. We'll see. And I'd love to do the 25 at some point as well, just to tick that off the list.
So we've got some pictures here.
Yeah, I was going to say. So that second picture on the top left, that was after my first
painful
swim
experience there.
But look, it's just some pictures of I guess the team, and we love a good a shipping container selfie.
Yeah, boat selfie.
Yeah, so things like that. So there's just some pictures of the day, but it was super cool. But if we got time, my cousin. Have we got time for the video? Do you reckon?
Well, let's bring it up then.
All right.
Let's tie off this story.
I asked my cousin to do some. I asked my cousin to film the day and put some words together. So, in his wisdom, this is what he came up with.
We're just getting up to about 15 Ks. Just prepping Jay's next feed. He's asked for a ham and cheese sandwich.
What?
And he's going to try and take that whole. And then after that, he has a special request, and he's after a sniffing. So he's going to crack that, take the sandwich whole, and he's going to try and smash this down. We do have a funnel ready for him just to make it a bit easier, and that should see him through for the rest of the.
Oh, geez.
For the rest of the swim?
That's my cousin being a funny bugger. He actually has a really good sense of humour, but very dry sense of humour. So
I tell you what, I'd be interested to know what some. I mean, you mentioned we joke about the sandwich. I've heard all sorts of things in feed plans.
Tinned fruit, all sorts of things.
Tinned fruit, tin of beans,
banana and peanut butter sandwiches.
I've actually tried that one.
Yeah.
In my first ever rock nest. Didn't go down well, especially if you get a bit of salt water in the mouth. It's like not the nicest. I know Grania Moss, our friend from over in Wellington, she always has her mum's famous. What kind of? It's soup of some sort.
She's like chicken noodle soup or something.
Oh, I think it's like potato. Broth. I think it's potato and wheat.
Oh, okay.
Grania, if you see this, I apologise if I've not got that one right, but I want to try it. Like, I'm really curious, but whatever works for you, and that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's your swim. You choose what is going to help you get towards the goals that you personally set.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, we have used up a bit of time there.
Sorry, that was me talking.
No, look, I'm not going to stop it because these experiences are important to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I know that's been quite a big goal of yours in the last particularly in the last few years of your life, it's important to share those lessons from those. Like, that's what After Swim's about. It's about going into those stories and
True.
how can that help other people, and hopefully, you know, there are some points from that people can take away, and, you know, straight off the bat, it's not always about the result, it's about how you conduct yourself. It's how do you pick yourself back up and learn from what happened before. How do you still have a bit of fun out of the entire situation when things are hitting the fan?
Oh, absolutely.
They're all incredible lessons, and yes, we have time to stick to, but we also...
Well, it's nice to explore these conversations because there are deeper reasons behind why we do some of these events and why we do what we do. And like as you said, there's usually some stories. I mean, I've got plenty of stories that have come out of these 3 swims that I've done that we haven't touched on. But sometimes things just don't go to plan.
Like this episode. So, but in a good way, we can adjust and pivot. And, you know, what I'm going to propose is that we continue on with this. We maybe push next week's weekly wisdom, push the weekly wisdom till next week.
Sure.
Because we're talking about these amazing swims, and I think we should really delve into those because they are absolute crackers.
Well,
so,
Port to Pub's just one. What's the next one?
The next one is the Derwent River Big Swim. So for anyone that hasn't come across this one, it's a 34-kilometre swim from New Norfolk in Tasmania all the way down the Derwent River, finishing in Hobart underneath the Tasman Bridge. And, you know, in terms of uniqueness, this was my first ever, personally speaking, it was my first ever ultra marathon swim, so 25k and above. First ever river swim, first ever cold water swim. There's going to be people out there that are going to laugh when I say 18 degrees Celsius, but that was cold for me as a skinny boy from the west of Scotland that hadn't really experienced any of these kind of big challenges before back in 2022. It was my first ever night swim.
Yep.
But one of the big things that I really loved about it was it's a point-to-point down a river and through some of the most incredible valleys in the south of Tasmania. You're swimming and, you know, every side that you breathe, you see something compared to maybe swimming a channel in the ocean where you breathe side to side and if you're lucky you might see a ship. You know, so you're seeing some beautiful mountains and, you know, you're going down the river, you see all the settlements and towns and villages along the way. And in this one, you've got 4 bridges that effectively act as checkpoints en route from start to finish. So I'll bring it up on the maps just here.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you do these swims, or specifically the Derwent swim, do they time it with the release of some water from the dam, or is that not always the case?
That's a bit of a secret.
Oh, okay.
I will touch on that.
Whoops, I've given something away.
No, so if you're looking at it on a map, here's Tasmania. If we zoom in, we've got New Norfolk here. You've got the New Norfolk Bridge. You swim down the Derwent River to the Bridgewater Bridge, which is a real low one. Val actually crashed into it. Sorry to
not his fault, I believe.
It was the wind. But then you've got the Bowen Bridge over here, and then finishing off with the Tasman Bridge, right in the heart of Hobart. So, like, if I bring that up, it's quite an iconic place to swim under. Lovely big bridge there. And that's a real cracker of a way to finish off your swim. So, you know, part of it is downstream with the river, so you've got a bit of current pushing you along. As you rightly said, sometimes they have a release of water from the dam upstream. And then part of it is tidal as well. So if you get your timing right, you get assistance from the push of the currents. And if you can be in the right place at the right time, around the Bridgewater Bridge, which is that first big landmark and checkpoint, about 15 k's into the swim, if you time it with the tide starting to come out, then it will suck you out and you can get some really quick speeds as you complete this swim.
Well, and I've seen the opposite occur too, where some people either haven't quite timed it right, but they start to swim into an incoming tide as well, so it gets really difficult towards the end.
Yeah, and obviously you want to avoid that, and give yourself the best possible chance of success. And so we've got a few pictures here. That's up on the screen. This is New Norfolk, so there's the New Norfolk Bridge there. This is from the top of Mount Wellington, or Kunani. I've probably butchered the pronunciation, apologies. It has has an Aboriginal name as well, but gives you a bit of an idea of what you can expect with the Tasman Bridge right down there at the finish. And this was throwing way back to 2022 when I was really starting off in this marathon swimming journey. And as you can see in the pictures, you've got Val Kalmakov. This was a teammate of mine, Fiona Cullinane, who did this swim as well, and she did the English Channel and the North Channel as well. And yeah, it was just the most amazing experience.
Because you talk very fondly of this particular event and how it was probably one of your most favourite swims.
It was, and I think when you look back at swims, A, who was involved in the experience, B, the location, the surroundings, the scenery. You've got some stunning waters to swim in, like pure fresh water down off the mountain, and all these valleys that you can see either side on your swim. But C, I think, what did you learn from it?
Mm-hmm.
What is the experience? For me, it wasn't a straightforward swim. I had admittedly done zero preparation for cold water swimming. I'd never swum at night. I remember jumping into the water at 2:30 a.m. in the pitch dark. It was so cold in the air that steam was coming off the water, which to me, I was like, oh, that's nice, there's going to be a bath in there, but it wasn't. And I'll bring it up on the screen, but all I could see when I was swimming was this boat that said meow on it. It was driving me absolutely nuts. I was getting so angry at myself because all I could think was, I'm bloody cold, and like this boat is just frustrating me. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm so embarrassed because I don't think I can keep going in this. Like, I am so freaking cold. And I hadn't prepared for it. So I felt embarrassed because I was thinking, well, I'm not going to make it the whole way here. And it's a 34-kilometer swim. I'm having these thoughts 1 hour in, like, what the hell is going on? What the hell am I doing here? Maybe Rottnest was a bit of a fluke, and maybe I'm not cut out for this longer distance stuff and these challenges that they entail. But I remember this pivotal point in the swim where Val leaned over at the 2 hour mark, and he's like, Andy, you're 2 hours in, we've covered 11.9 kilometers.
Whoa.
I was like, what? So we've covered 11.9 kilometers. I'm like, what the hell, man? And I'm doing the maths in my head, and I'm thinking, geez, that's like almost 60 seconds per 100 meter pace. Like, heck yeah, we're on. Like, this record, which I think was like 5 hours, or it might have been 6 hours or something for the 34K. I was like, man, we're on for this. So the mindset completely shifted from probably similar to yourself, like this mindset of, I'm just going to be lucky to finish this here, to heck, we're on, almost in the opposite to yourself, heck, we're on, let's go for the record.
Yep.
And I remember in those moments thinking to myself, like, what's going to help me get through this? One of those thoughts, I remember my sister pulling me to the side and saying, like, one day she just had a young boy, her first child, Jack. And I remember her saying to me before I left for Tasmania, one day your nephew Jack's going to understand all of these things that you're doing, and he's going to be immensely proud. And I remember any time that I was really struggling mentally, just thinking back to that, like, being really grounded, that, like, my nephew's going to understand this one day. This might not make sense right now, but let's keep going and show him what it means to handle adversity, to take on challenges, to pursue your dreams.
That's such a powerful motivator, isn't it?
Keep going when times get tough. That gave me the jet fuel to keep going on when it was tough.
Yep.
Very, very fresh in those
Oh,
waters.
that too.
But Yeah, we haven't talked too much about the swim itself. It's in the Australian Triple Crown. It's part of the toughest 13, which is a challenge outlined by Marathon Swimming Federation. It's part of the news series that we talked about last week, North, East, West, South. Des Renford was the first person to swim it back in 1975. There was a few other people that did it until there was this huge hiatus for a number of years until about 2021 when it really started picking up again. And yeah, it's just awesome that this is a swim and people can do it.
Yeah, no, it looks beautiful. Val's been trying to encourage me to do it, and I don't know. I won't say never, but at the moment I'm thinking cold water, no thanks.
Maybe not. Moving on, we will round this out. We are running out of time, so we will try and cover this as quickly as possible. Pam to Shelley. So for anyone that hasn't come across this swim, this is an absolute cracker. So it starts at Palm Beach, which is in the northern suburbs of Sydney. For anyone that watches Neighbours, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, is it Neighbours or is it Home and Away? It's Home and Away. It's one or the other.
Yeah, Home and Away.
The swim starts there and then hooks round the coast all the way down to here. Oh no.
Yeah, keep going.
I missed that one. All the way down into Shelley Beach here. So we've got a beautiful, up on the screen here, this beautiful, what's that called? Like a picture?
I'll just call it a map. But
It's a map, yeah.
A rendition
Of all the amazing beaches that you cross past on this amazing journey, this 24-kilometre swim. And look, that's a picture of me going past Whale Beach, I think it was. Which is quite near the start of the swim. This is Shelley Beach down there, and it's a truly stunning coastline to swim past. You know, you've got Avalon, which is in the top left. You've got all these rock pools that you can go and visit if you've got some time in and around the swim, including Bondi icebergs right there, going and seeing the Harbour Bridge. Sydney's just an amazing city in general, and it's just awesome that they've got this this incredible event and swim that you can take on over in the city.
Yeah, and look, and it's, I guess you're talking about the west coast, you're talking about the east coast, you're talking about the southern parts of Australia, so they're very, very different locations, very different climates and topography as well, so just very, very different, each with their own unique challenge.
We'll quickly wrap up here, but it's they have out of event crossings, but they also have an event, the Pam to Shelley event, which is run by Another Level Performance, Timmy Garrett over there in Sydney. If you are feeling adventurous or have a lot of curiosity, maybe have a look at his website.
There's some interesting stuff in there.
There's a few events, I'm not going to call them out here, but for anyone that wants to...
That looks like an interesting
I'm not going to go into it, but if you have curiosity, maybe have a look at that one that we just showed on the screen before. Right, we have 2 minutes. We'll probably be skipping the weekly wisdom, I think, this week. We'll cover it in a future episode. Do you want to try cover this Q&A with Andy and Jay first?
Yeah, because we had an interesting question come through during last week. So
let's go into it.
Look, there was a bit of a story behind it. This gentleman, Jared, he was a professional athlete, right? So he's a professional athlete, I believe, does some triathlons, but he really struggles with the swim. And to the point where he said some days, because this is his profession, some days he just doesn't want to get in the water.
Yeah.
I'm going to get cold. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to get out of bed.
Well, and I believe he's coming back from injury. So I think there's a real mental block in his head where he's thinking, it's going to be cold in there, or my body's not going to feel nice. So it's stopping him getting in and doing what he needs to do in terms of, he knows he has to get in and train, but he can't bring himself around to doing it.
I think we've all had those moments. I certainly have, where I don't want to get out of bed. It is a real struggle to get to the pool or do the training. What my first thought when I saw this question, it took me to, if anybody's familiar with Tony Robbins, the professional coach Tony Robbins, he has this method that he does every single day, and he's got various ones, but one specifically where he jumps into a cold pool, a cold plunge. and it's not an ice bath or anything like that. It's about 13, 14 degrees. But his process is that he does not allow his mind to start thinking. So he has trained himself, and he does this more for the mental benefits than the physical benefits. So mentally, he doesn't let his mind take control. He gets up, walks towards the pool, jumps straight in, does not pause. For the benefits of not letting his mind take control of his body.
Well, it's like if you're going to do a bungee jump, you don't stand at the edge and look over and wait. You know, you just go for it.
Because if you stop, so there's a famous saying, if you're in your head, you're dead. And what that basically means is if you start thinking and analysing what's going on, you'll talk yourself out of it. So a lot of the time, just going and acting without, I guess, pausing to reflect or think about what you're about to embark on, you know, sometimes that'll actually stop you from moving forward.
Where I suppose my mind goes to this, Alex Hormozy, is where I heard it. He says, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And this might not necessarily be a fear, but I think it's that reptilian part of your brain that is saying, oh no, like stop, and it's putting on the brakes. And when you actually get in, you realise actually it wasn't that bad in the first place. And so I remember my sports psychologist, he was calling that the chimp brain. Now I might be messing up some of the terms here, I'm not a psychologist myself, but from what I remember, he would say, you can't shout at it. You can't be like, no, let's like, and really like kind of go head to head with it, like, no, like I'm gonna be fine, let's do this. So he said, unless you're American. But no. But I think learning to work with it is a good starting point. Being kind to yourself, being gentle, gradually building into it. You know, you don't need to jump straight into the deep end. Like, let's go take those small steps in the beginning. Let's just jump in for a quick second into the shallow end, get yourself acclimatized, remind that reptilian part of your brain, actually, I'm okay here, I'm not going to die. Jump out, and then the next day you come, you just go in a little bit deeper, and then a little bit deeper, and you gradually change the narrative to, actually, this is not too bad, and like I'm gradually building and building and building until those times that you turn up, you're not even considering stopping. You're just like, actually, I'm just going to dive right in.
Yeah, and it's about conditioning more than anything, because, you know, irrespective of where you're at in your level, whether you're a, you know, just a weekday swimmer or you're a competitive or, you know, elite level swimmer, we all have these moments where we don't want to do things. I've certainly had them, and sometimes the biggest effort and biggest achievement is actually just getting to the pool, not even getting in.
It's that first step, yeah.
It's just
so
getting
just
there.
keep showing up. And, you know, if you liken it to cold water acclimatization, you don't jump into 5-degree waters and stay there for an hour on your first attempt. You gradually build there time after time after time, and it's those repetitions of the positive experiences that is going to change the mindset and the narrative over the long run. So,
absolutely,
yeah. Hope that answers your question, Jared. But
no, that was a good one. I really enjoyed that when it came
and
through.
I'm glad that we took the time and really delved into it right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up because we are running a little bit over time here.
We've got some, so thank you very much for being part of, I guess, our session this week on After Swim. And all right, we didn't follow the typical format, but I think we had some, quite meaningful conversations this week. And looking,
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and we've got to be a little bit flexible and I guess pivot around some of what occurs, not only in this show, but in life as well. And we'll touch on these topics next week, the ones that we missed out on. So,
well, we have a usual tradition of going through the words of the week. These probably apply more to that second topic of recovery and like being disciplined. Do you want to go through them? I think they're still very relevant, mind you.
Yeah, and look, it probably actually touches on Jared's question before, where basically, I guess the words of the week that we chose this week is, excuses make today easy, but they make tomorrow hard. Discipline makes today hard, but tomorrow easy. So I think that really applies to, as you just said, showing up a lot of the time. Showing up is sometimes the hardest part. And if you just show up, the next step is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And if you can just show up every time, as I've said to my stepkids as well, the outcome is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like just showing up and putting in your best effort is more important than the result. So, you know, a lot of the times just getting there is the hard part.
Yeah. Great words, and hopefully there's some that speak to you.
Yeah.
Right. Let's wrap things up.
Well, we had planned to talk about a lot more, but I'm really thankful that we got this opportunity to delve in a little bit deeper to, I guess, some of our experiences that hopefully, you know, can translate in your world and, you know, help you overcome some challenges in your life and be it swimming or other parts of your life. So.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Remember, this is After Swim. These are conversations that we want to have not for you, but with you. So, you know, please do, if you have things that you want us to talk about, to dive into, any questions, news. This is all about the open water swimming community and shining a light on what happens in it and the lessons that we all learn through the day-to-day journey. So, yeah. We'll round off there.
I was going to say, we look forward to hearing from you soon. So, no.
Thank you guys for watching After Swim. We'll see you next week.
We will.